Hi, I'm Madison Tish, and today I'll be giving a presentation on parental neglect and emotional abuse. Starting off with the facts, approximately 1 in 4 children experience child abuse or neglect in their lifetime, or maltreated children. 18% are abused physically, 78% are neglected, and 9% are abused sexually. If you look at this graph, it goes to show that physical abuse is at a 17%. When it comes to neglect, it's at a 74%. Some effects from childhood abuse and neglect don't only affect you emotionally or for the time being of whenever it's happening. Parental neglect can also affect you going into adulthood, and it can have lifelong problems causing your whole life. And it is just a constant wheel of pain and trauma, and there's so many things that lead into it that aren't just being sad or being upset. And it can be life-altering to have neglect or any trauma as a child, and it doesn't have to be physical. It can be just on neglect. Some effects from childhood abuse and neglect are difficulty with intimacy. Children may struggle to trust and connect with others, leading to relational difficulties. So this really can affect a child having good relationships in the future because of fear of neglect, fear of not being wanted. Other things that really rooted from parental neglect and emotional trauma can lead into other relationships, even if they're not your parents, even if they're not family, even if it's a coworker or boss or just a regular friendship down the road in your adulthood. Those rooted issues can still affect you. Another one is people-pleasing tendencies. They may try to gain approval from others, often at the expense of their own needs and boundaries, meaning that they put people first just to prevent the lash out that they used to occur. So like whenever a child is neglected or emotionally abused, a lot of the time they're always the one at fault. Even if they're not and they didn't do anything wrong, they're still at fault. So that proceeds to later on in life, whenever, even if they're still in contact with their parents or if they're not, they just have a tendency to always put other people before them, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's a bad thing from where it comes from. Codependent relationships, they may become overly reliant on others for validation and self-worth. Children that go through emotional abuse and childhood neglect often do struggle with a lot of self-confidence, because whenever you are abused in any way, physical, emotional, any way, it really hurts your ego and it hurts your confidence, and you don't look in the mirror confidently as you would if you did have a positive parent that was reassuring and that was nurturing towards you. Anxiety and depression. The constant stress and emotional instability of a narcissistic abuse can contribute to these conditions. So dealing with a narcissist is a whole different thing and a whole different ball game, but a lot of these neglectful parents do have a lot of narcissistic personalities, and that can lead to lifelong anxiety and depression. Not just, oh, you're out of the house, you're moved on, it doesn't affect you anymore. No, these things are rooted in your life for the rest of your life. And I mean, your childhood, literally from the age from 5 and older, it affects who you are for the rest of your life. It goes into your personality. Low self-esteem and self-doubt. Narcissistic parents can often criticize and belittle their children, leading them to feeling inadequate and having self-blame. So it kind of goes hand in hand with all other things. It's just no confidence. Just you're always ready to blame yourself. You're never giving yourself self-worth. You never think you're right. You just automatically take the blame and try to prevent any more issues than would have came out of your childhood. Post-traumatic stress disorder, which stands for PTSD. A lot of people are like, oh, soldiers, warriors. No, any trauma can lead to PTSD. It doesn't really have a specific, oh, you do this and this is what causes it. No, a lot of people actually do struggle with parental abuse and having PTSD even down the line. And when it's trauma bonded, you're going to run into a lot of PTSD down the road. Whenever I said earlier, I kind of went into the emotional points of this, but this leads on to the physical points of it, because parental neglect and narcissism and childhood abuse truly causes, like, it physically will affect your body, which leads me to this point. Your health can be affected with migraines, adrenal fatigue, anxiety, weight loss / gain, hair loss, insomnia, exhaustion, brain fog, gut issues, depression, a couple other like respiratory things, lupus, IBS, sexual issues, and memory problems, and the list goes on. These are not the only things that childhood neglect and trauma can feed into you, and this would be the start of the solution.
What should we be thinking about if we felt I tend to think when someone has a family that's narcissistic, does the person that I'm working with or talking to, or the adult child of the narcissist, need greater self-differentiation, or do they need to physically separate? Self-differentiation is, do you have the maturity and respect for yourself that if you had grown up in a healthy family, this is the way you'd be? And people go, well, how can I do that? I didn't grow up in a healthy family. It's never too late to have a happy childhood. So let's start now.
So that ties into the whole emotional aspect of it and how it affects your personality. So the start of the solution would be mental health care workers and advocates in schools, because obviously at school, that's a kid's safe place to get away from home. Parents aren't around, siblings aren't around, and you're in a completely different environment. So having resources there for them to connect to can help a lot. More individuals, spreading awareness in the media, making people feel seen would be another one. Allow nonprofit programs to help young adults that are newly on their own financially. This would be a big one because it is hard to go non-contact, especially if you know that you're dealing with a narcissistic parent or emotional abuse or childhood neglect. It is hard to be a young adult and know that you deserve better and know that you need to step away, but you can't financially. So help there would be great. And also create government funding. This kind of goes hand in hand, the last one. Housing for young adults and trying to escape unsafe and abusive homes, physically or emotionally. It's confusing yet completely understandable for adult children to crave a connection with their parents, even when it's an unhealthy relationship. But let's get out of the habit of telling people, well, that's still your mom, that's still your dad, that's still your brother, that's still your sister. Toxic is toxic, whether it's family or not. You are allowed to walk away from people who constantly hurt you. You are allowed to, and that's okay. Thank you.